Hello folks, today we're going to talk about interviews and collabs. And these are types of shows where you get other YouTube creators involved in what you're doing. This episode is going to be broken up into two sections. The first is going to be how you find people like this. And after the halftime, we're going to go into what do you do once you've found a person to interview or collab with. So first, let's talk about what an interview or collab is. An interview is when you bring somebody onto your show and you ask them questions. If it's a live session, you can ask them questions and then interact with the audience. I often call this either an interview, or if I'm getting the audience involved, I call it a co-hosting. And then a collab is where you do a video with another creator. Either you and that creator get together, you're on the same camera, and you go somewhere together and you essentially just interact. And then both of you can use the video however you want to. And then there's a kind where you do a project with another creator where you make one video, they make one video, and those videos are meant to interlock or be related in some way that when somebody watches one, they go to the other. And the idea is that you're sharing audiences. You're doing this with someone who has a similar audience as you, so they would enjoy the other person's work as well. All right, let me first address the elephant in the room. When people start thinking about interviews or collabs, they are coming in with the motivation of, how can I get that audience? It's more of a selfish, what can I get out of this? And how can I use you to get your audience? And this is a toxic way to go about doing it. And often it doesn't work at all. The way you go into an interview or a collab is you figure out how this interview or collab can serve both your audience, the other creator, and the other creator's audience. And so it's got to be a win-win-win-win. So here's what it shouldn't look like, but unfortunately it often does. You have a small creator who says, I want the audience that this larger creator has, and so I'm going to bring that larger creator onto my show, either as an interview, a collab, or somehow bring them on. And the hope of the smaller creator is that the larger creator will market this to their audience and bring all those people to the show. That rarely works. Because the larger creator, even if they agree to be on your show, probably doesn't have a whole lot of incentive to bring all of their audience to your smaller platform. In fact, the larger creator may not know who you are or what you stand for or what you do. They may have been agreeing to this just because, well, they want to help out someone else. But don't expect the larger creator to market this interview. That's your job. And if you're lucky enough to get a larger creator to say yes, then you've got to pull out all the stops to make it worthwhile for that larger creator to come to your channel. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, you create a channel that's worth coming to. What this means is if you've got a very small channel, why would anybody come to it? Why would anybody subscribe to it, much less a larger creator come and visit? And the answer is that you have spent the time to build up a channel that actually means something, that's doing something. And if we go to your channel, we can see this is what this person stands for. Hey, that might be fun. I really like where this person is going. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and be part of that. Make sure you've created a nice digital home to invite them to. All right, so why are small creators better for you? And this, of course, is assuming you're a small creator. And I'll use me as an example. This is a new channel that you're watching right now. Now, I've done content creation for over 10 years. I've done multiple shows, but they've been in the chameleon and reptile world where I'm well known there. Here on the How to Start Your YouTube channel, nobody knows who I am. Even though I have all that experience, I am starting at step 1. At the recording of this video, I have about 220 subscribers, not even monetized yet. And I am going to be looking to collab. So to find the best collab possible, I am going to find another channel that's about this size. I'll probably look for a creator that's over 40 because I'm over 40 and maybe it's a niche that we can work with. Really what I'm looking for is someone that's similar enough to my channel that people who watch their channel will benefit from what I have to say, will enjoy what I have to say. And how do I know that? Well, I am going to be looking for a channel that's similar to mine. And similar in size is important as well. I'm not going to look for somebody who's following a channel that's got 10,000, 50,000, 2 million subscribers. I watch Travis and Jen at the vidIQ, and boy, would I love to have them on my show. Yeah, I'd love to have them on my show because they're awesome people. But the people that would come to watch that show of mine probably wouldn't stay and give me a subscribe because they're expecting the kind of quality of video that Travis and Jen create over at vidIQ. I don't do that. Maybe in 10 years I'll do that, and in 10 years I'll have Travis and Jen on. But for right now, I'm going to be looking for somebody that has a couple hundred, 200 to 500 subscribers who do a topic of create your own YouTube and have the same general style as I do. What I'm looking for is a channel that is near enough to what I do that those subscribers will be interested in me, but different enough that a different perspective would be attractive to them. And most importantly, it would benefit the other creator for the exact same reasons. If you're sitting here enjoying this kind of video, I want to find a creator that you would enjoy. And so maybe you go and subscribe to them. You see, in this YouTube world, we don't have to compete for subscribers. You can subscribe to as many people as you want. And so it's in our best interest to create a community that includes all of us. And so I'm going to be looking for somebody that has a similar channel, both in topic and in size. Now that's for a collab. An interview is you're bringing somebody in who's an expert in something or is distinguished in some manner. And so they can have a larger audience than you. That would be expected. But you need to come at this as if you were prepared to receive an expert and you are going to give them a worthwhile show. But before you bring on a well-known expert, make sure you have the kind of audience that is worthy of bringing on that expert. And don't feel bad if you don't have that yet. Build it. You don't have to collab or interview right away. In fact, you shouldn't. You should spend time building your channel, building your style, building your message, building your voice, and building an audience. Now, for this Create Your Own YouTube tutorial series, I've kicked off every week with some pretty high-level YouTubers. I was able to do that, and it was appropriate for me to do that because I know these people personally. I'm well known in the reptile community, and these are all reptile YouTubers. And so that's why I could bring them to you. And they're not coming on just for their star power. They're coming on because their experience is directly relatable to what you're going through, and they thought it would be really cool to be part of that. You see, what I did is not only did I have a personal connection with them, which, that's most important, but also I created something that was cool that they said, hey, yeah, I'd like to be part of that. It'd be a totally different thing if I had no reason other than to show them off as big YouTubers. They probably wouldn't do that. So that was an unfair advantage I used for this tutorial series because it would bring much more quality to this series and it would be fun for them. So the question comes up, when this whole thing is over and I want to do a collab or interview just for my channel on the merits of this channel, not what I've done for the last 10 years, how am I going to find people that have like 200 to 300 subscribers? I mean, it's really hard to find those in a YouTube search because YouTube doesn't serve those people up. So what I'm going to do is, number one, be part of the YouTube community. That means that I am active on YouTube inside the community of people that talk about how to start a YouTube channel. Once again, these are not competitors. We don't have to compete for subscribers. I am not going to copy them because if I copy somebody, then I'm not bringing any value to the table. But to find people at my low level, what I'm going to do is go find other creators that are just a couple levels above where I am. That would be creators that are like 10,000 followers, maybe 20, 25,000 followers. 50 is starting to get out of the range of where I am. And what I'm going to do is go into the comments section, and I am going to see who is commenting on those videos and check those people out. Those are the people who are right around where I am, trying to make their way in this YouTube jungle. I then check out those profiles and see, is this somebody that matches my criteria? Once again, I have the advantage that I've done this for over 10 years. And so I understand what a collab is. I've set up interviews, I've set up webinars, I've had multiple shows. So I know how this works. I have to realize that other people at this level may not know what a collab is. They may freak out when I all of a sudden say, hey, contact me and let's collab. Who's this guy? So, it's not terribly easy. And it's not like YouTube has an easy way to communicate with creators. You can leave comments, but there's no communication system like direct messaging like we have on Instagram. So if I'm going to meet a creator who's new on YouTube, it's going to have to be me liking their videos, me commenting good comments on their videos, and then sooner or later, as soon as I want to do this, I leave a comment saying, hey, contact me if you want to collab. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to the halftime where we're going to talk to Yvette. And then when we come back, I'm going to talk about once you do have an interview or a collab, how do you go about structuring that? So see you soon. Hello, all. Well, we are at the end of our this is the third week.
This is third week.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, this is a check-in. We've got your third video coming out tomorrow.
Yes.
So
still working on it.
What was your approach to this video and what have you learned?
Well, my approach this time was to do a voiceover because it was too much. I have to build something. So I'm creating. Am I allowed to say what I'm creating an enclosure? So it's a lot easier to do that and then go back and talk about it.
So how was the voiceover experience?
Ooh, I am still working on it. I'm afraid I may have in parts traumatized or what did I say? Harass my
assaulted.
I think I may have assaulted my viewers or my friends.
Are you working on your inflections?
Yes, I am. Some of them are really nice and sweet and cheery, whatever. But some of them I am just like beating you down. And it's like I want to give this disclaimer at the beginning of the video saying, apologizing in advance. Anywho, so assaulting you all.
Every time she tries to do something or give a certain feeling, it's like there's a knob that goes from 0 to 100 and you just have two settings.
I know. So I want to say it's kind of embarrassing. I'm walking by, kind of like just listening to it as I'm editing and ooh, that was painful. So there may be some redos.
You're going to be doing a re-record?
Yeah, for some spots. Anyway, that's how it's going right now.
All right. Well, I really enjoy watching you build what you're building. It's very cool.
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Bill.
Tomorrow it is
1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, there we go.
All right, folks, welcome back. And now we're going to be talking about what if you do get that interview or collab? How do you go about making sure it's successful? And we're going to start with the interview first. So presumably, you know who this person is and why they're important to your audience. And so we already know that there's value there. Make sure you give them a week's notice and a notice the day before that they're ready to come on, just to remind them and make sure everything is still on schedule. I recommend having a question list that you send them a week before so they can take a look at it. They may or may not take a look at it, but at least you have it and you can work off of it. And by the way, on this question list, see if you can avoid asking the question, how did you get started in this? Unless that is relevant to what your audience cares about, that is often a huge time waster. And I know it's something that we all gravitate to naturally. Believe me, I did as well, but now, whenever I hear that in an interview, I always fast forward. I don't need to hear all this stuff. Generally, it's just fluff filler. So avoid the fluff filler. Get right into the topic that is important to your audience. And next, research who they are. I mean, seriously research. If you have this person on, you should know what they are all about. That is the only way that you're going to be able to have relevant questions. I once did an interview where the interviewers really had no idea what I did. And the questions seemed to come from them just taking a look at Wikipedia for the word chameleon, and they pulled out some terms from that Wikipedia page. I could tell they had no idea what they were talking about. And it was awkward because it was left up to me not to embarrass them on their own show. Not that I would be mean or anything, but I could very easily have said, I don't understand. What are you talking about? Or, I'm sorry, what do you mean? And then they would be left flat-footed because I knew they had no idea what they were talking about. This is an example of somebody who was not prepared for the interview. They brought me on because I was a big name in that particular niche, but they themselves apparently weren't that interested in that niche. So yeah, that wasn't the best interview for me. And once they're on your show, be prepared to go through that question list, but also be prepared to go off-road. Riff with them. Whatever they say, you want to be listening to what they say. Don't fall into the trap of thinking about the next question you're going to ask. You want to organically come up with questions that flow with what they say, because the audience doesn't know your question list. They just know what your interviewee is saying. So it's going to feel jarring if you immediately go back to a question that doesn't have anything to do with where they took their last answer. And remember in all this, you represent the audience. This interview is not about you. It's about you letting your interviewee do the talking. And you are asking questions, not only questions that you have, but that the audience would have. In many of my interviews, I ask questions that I know the answer to, but I ask those questions because I know that the audience doesn't have the answers to those questions, and they need those answers for us to continue on. So represent the audience. Make sure you bring the audience along with you. And once again, let them do the talking. I've seen a number of interviews where the interviewer wants to show off how much they know, and it's like they're talking at the interviewee, the guest that they brought on the show. We in the audience want to hear what the guest has to say. And then it's up to you to close off the interview at a nice stopping point. At the end of the interview, you offer your followers all of the contact information for your interviewee. Your job here is to make sure that interviewee gets a whole lot of subscribers from your subscribers. You're thinking, but wait a minute, I'm the one who wanted the subscribers. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You need to bring on people that serve your audience, and that means that your audience can go follow them. If that's not what you want, don't have an interview. And the bottom line is, you need to have fun. Your audience, your guest, everybody will appreciate having fun for that interview time. If it's a slog, if it's a interrogation, nobody's going to feel comfortable about it. And I got to say, this only comes with practice. And so if interviews are something that you want to do, you need to get started and practice. And start with people who are beginning just like you. Bring on friends that are working with the same things you are. Practice, practice, practice until you're comfortable enough with it that you can start bringing on people that are a little bit further ahead than you. Now, collabs. That is where you're going to be doing a project with another creator, either on the same camera or different cameras, different videos. Whatever it is, have fun with it. Make sure you and that other creator are doing something that other people will want to watch. And with this, there are no guidelines, except make sure both of you benefit from it. The more fun, the more creative, the more crazy it is, the better. So this is where you start to think outside of the box. What can you do that's different than what's been done before? It can be as simple as you two going to a museum together and making fun of the art. Or it could be like what I'm talking about is we're both in different countries asking questions that the other country is interested in. What does that have to do with creating a YouTube channel? Well, it's two YouTube coach hopefuls showing how a collab can be done. As long as there's some connection to the topic of your channel and you're having fun, you can get away with it. Sunday evenings, I do a live session where we talk about YouTube and I bake cookies. I actually got in trouble with that one. Well, not in trouble, but a little difficult situation because my thumbnail showed these scrumptious chocolate chip cookies, which were mine. I did make them, except people were coming there expecting a chocolate chip cookie recipe. And so things were not really meshing. I didn't have a very good promise in that thumbnail until I changed it around and said YouTube and cookies. We talk YouTube while I teach myself baking. Once I changed it to that thumbnail and I connected it to my channel's purpose of teaching YouTube, the right people started clicking on it and enjoying it. So this is an example how you can take something as different as baking and connect it to your channel. I bake, but we talk YouTube while I do it. And that's what you do with a collab. And that is the freedom that you have if you want to collab. All right, everybody. In summary of everything, doing interviews, doing a collab, doing things within your community is great. But first, if you're going to invite anybody to your channel, make sure you've created a nice channel for them to come to. Prioritize working with people whose channel is about the same size as yours. Their subscribers are going to be much more likely to enjoy your content. And then finally, make sure, whether interview or collab, that the interviewee, your guest, gets as much benefit or more than you get, and that you're serving your subscribers with this interview/collab. Obviously, this is a huge topic, but there's your high level. And if you've got any more questions on this, join my Sunday night YouTube and baking. It's a live session at 5 p.m. Pacific, and you can't beat cookies. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.